I have one piece tonight, and it's called Guilty and or Shame. Hoyt Axton said one time that some words don't come easy and some don't come at all. As a songwriter, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Do you know Hoyt Axton?
No.
He wrote Joy to the World, Three Dog Night did.
I see.
And he wrote a bunch of other stuff, but that's probably what he's most famous for. I like old Hoyt. Here we go, guilt and or shame. After watching the testimony of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford and Judge Brett Kavanaugh during the Senate Judiciary hearing, I've come to believe that there is little possibility that Dr. Ford can, could, or will ever present enough evidence to merit a conviction in a court of law. Kavanaugh had and still has far more legal tools at his disposal than Ford does. In spite of that, why did a man who uses logic, reason, and critical analysis in his chosen occupation of law every day resort to emotional pleas for rescuing his reputation and his ambition to become a Supreme Court justice?
Amen, brother.
Thank you.
I'm with you.
Stay around, do some more of that. Before or after his testimony, has Brett Kavanaugh offered up any suggestion for better protection for women and those people who are more vulnerable to sexual predators? He showed great emotion about his own set of circumstances, but missed a monumental opportunity to focus our attention on a serious worldwide human rights problem. Dr. Ford may recognize the futility of appealing to Kavanaugh's legal mind. Laws are enacted in hopes that citizens will willingly obey them or will fear the consequences of failure or refusal to do so. This is the realm of establishing legal guilt. However, there may be a more compelling argument to her case than the legal aspect. Could Dr. Ford have possibly been appealing to a higher law, the realm of morality and spirituality? Here the focus is the feeling inside someone called shame. A conviction for a crime may or may not accompany the feeling of shame. Shame can be felt without any accompanying allegation of a crime. Consider this. Do you believe Jesus said these words in the Sermon on the Mount? Matthew 5:23-24, King James Version. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift before the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Do you recall Dr. Ford referring to her own beliefs in spirituality? Most likely you cannot. Do you recall Brett Kavanaugh referring to his spiritual belief base? Yes, he steadily stressed his adherence to Christian beliefs and actions. Could he now be ignoring the words of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount as written in Matthew? He knows whether his answer has to be yes or no to that question. It is true that Dr. Ford did not refer to Jesus' teaching. Does that imply that she does not adhere to the tenet expressed in Matthew 5:23-24? There is a Christian belief that each of us must face our Maker, God. God is supposed to be all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-present. Therefore, the person, if there is one, who attacked Dr. Ford, might at some time step up, confess the deed, and seek restitution according to the doctrine expressed in Matthew 5:24. Roughly 50% of the United States population is female. Their percentage of legislative bodies at all levels in America is nowhere near that. Political decisions are made primarily about women rather than being made by women. Is it high time for a change in this crucial political imbalance? Legendary singer-songwriter Waylon Jennings sang, I can't say I'm proud of all the things that I've done, but I can say I've never intentionally hurt anyone.
I've always been crazy.
Have legislative bodies unintentionally endangered women and those most vulnerable because they do not look through the eyes of those who are abused? Maybe they have unintentionally hurt women as well as those most vulnerable in our society. Do you believe that Dr. Ford knows there is a man, either Brett Kavanaugh or someone else, who needs to get up from the altar and reconcile himself with her? Or do you believe that Dr. Ford is the one who needs to reconcile herself with the man she is accused, namely Brett Kavanaugh? Or do you believe the scripture from Matthew 5 has little to no relevance to the issue of sexual assault, or that it's simply irrelevant today? Let's remember, churches, schools, and many civic state organizations and agencies are faced with similar sexual accusations, lawsuits, and investigations almost daily. Do you sense that current laws across America fail to provide adequate and appropriate protection for vulnerable children, especially girls? What more can America do to protect those who need protection? Since most youth of America are prohibited from holding political office, perhaps we should elect more women and minorities to address the scourge of sexual exploitation. As Anna Maria Archinal so vividly demonstrated to Senator Jeff Flake in the elevator regarding the Kavanaugh nomination process, we must be willing to look into the eyes of abused people and promise to do whatever we legally can to make their lives safer. Are we not morally obligated to do this as well? The Declaration of Independence states, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is not sexual assault one of the most heinous barriers to a woman's pursuit of happiness? We can't go back in time and prevent abuses that have already occurred, inflicting a lifetime of pain on each victim among us. But we can and should elect people to Congress who will willingly look into the eyes of women and children and commit the United States of America to a safer future. Let's elect a few women along with minorities to lead us through this mess. Thank you. If you want to know what I really think about this stuff, ask me something.
And I'll be staffing Democrat headquarters next Friday if you need a bell.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to be late. There are cookies, there is wine, if anybody would like some.
Oh, read them afterwards.
Yeah.
We just went ahead and started.
Bless your hearts, everything has been one of those days.
Mass finished if you want to say it.
Want me to record you?
Yes, please.
Mr. Nelson.
I just
I
need
believe
to
the
hit this
podium
button
is
right here.
yours.
Just 1 minute,
And
please.
hit the red button?
Yeah.
Red button. Red button it is.
Just wait till they.
Getting that music in the recording.
Well, it's the problem is this is a Thursday. You kind of want to do both, but luckily with a small group, you might be able to do.
Well, Gary Card was reading over at the library tonight.
Ah,
I only found out today.
yeah, that kind of. Okay, this group I've chosen to do, I've actually seen twice in concert. I have their part of their 40-year anniversary CD, and basically that's when I was actually at that concert. I found I was getting my second niece, but you know, since all of you watching this, classmates, various staff of Southwestern and others, is that this is why we should hang out a lot more. Because what I do is I take various song titles and put them all together. So I said, instead of the naked lunch, this is part of my overdressed dinner. Can someone hear me now? Because I've got something important to say to everyone. It's sad to say, but it's sad, but very true that nobody's perfect. At least not for incredibly long. some people get big hair and other things to conceal their heart is very small. So, some have grown restless from trying to make everyone else happy. So it's such tragedy from not wanting to be around others unless they shared something. Quality time has been slipping away since phones replaced TV and music for all to enjoy, while at the same time making free thinkers an endangered species every second. Even kids at the baby room are letting technology take over what little time they have left, by replacing illusions of love with bright lights and loud noises to pass the free time. So, people used to say lovers live longer, but I don't think anyone knows what that word means. From getting involved with someone for all the wrong reasons without an escape plan. It doesn't matter if you're a white dress or a Nobel Prize winner, have some compassion before you go crazy from the heart once the good times return you to your hollow shell. Sometimes you gotta like I said, you've got to let your love flow until it hurts, just to feel normalcy again. And sadly, too much is not enough for all those who enjoy pretending to be full of joy, because lying about emotions is hard. It's that hard in the heart and blocks the seed of recovery from sprouting. Even if your sugar daddy promises you the moon if you stay as you are for eternity. So, how I long for that sweet nostalgia of wanting to have a good time. He said because it felt good. He said getting out of the crossfire of reality, just be reminded the world isn't quite as bad. Providing many doing nothing heavy. He said if it's been a while since the positive emotions flew. Much farther than the diesel cafe that many watch the world go by in without caring, but their lazy eyes have missed so much that finding anything interest is now boring. Did everyone say screw it and open a jar of fermented jalapenos and wait until the earth rots? What happened to everyone go insane as they discover new things and better people? I guess many chose to remain in the afterglow of the other burnouts plaguing humanity. So making me feel like I'm the only sane man left alive to observe the corpses finally drop. After watching them go fooling around in the streets and manage not to become roadkill, so even spiders and snakes have more sense to band together and do nothing because it's safer. I've seen plenty good times last until the money's gone in an instant. So leaving sorrow, and when someone asks about tomorrow, they say we can handle it, so while being out of their minds. Rambling again, that life is theirs to claim despite everything done ruins the paradise of old. Proving the population of many is full of far too many rebels without a clue, and not the board game. Honestly, why does it feel like everyone's stuck in hillbilly hell when the world keeps changing? It's a little naive to think that everyone has enough potential to not remain where they ended up. But I know deep down there's a part of them that wants to feel free from the gloom. So, going over the line, keeping many from knowing happiness that can come from anywhere. Yet, many remain guilty of the crime of letting life pass them by without wondering what they've missed, sitting with their satin sheets wrapping around them like fate has been decided. I said, this is one way to love that has never found its way back to those stranded in shame. Among the memorabilia called cities built to corrupt souls, wanting to keep the status quo, continuously dancing in the seasons of the wind, with many of the air blowing very foul. One option for people is to leave their comfort and live like an old hippie with more fresh air, while listening to the sweetest of morning mockingbirds, even on the cloudiest of days, and tasting the wild honey of not being controlled on a colossal slice of new life bread served alongside the blue ribbons, proving everyone's a winner once they avoid the despair of coming back for more big bowls of misery stew, served from the corporate stiffs in black, using their dead aim to keep others out of the light and covering them in more misery, and making sure that when asked about the joy, they said rely on, we don't want to go for that brightened horizon. Alive like a blue rodeo stretching on for miles, inviting others to see the miracle of passion's thunder echoing over the sea of steel serving as a massive zoo for the simpletons, belonging to the crazy old world, where everyone didn't care about getting ahead by an inch. What I want is a beautiful night to relax with those who have left their false paradise of their own. I said, running free like a redneck girl on his first trip to anywhere without a junkyard front lawn. Sorry if that offended some people. I said, yet when I'm away from you poor lost souls, I know the problem builds up too quickly, as helping others with my advice is a strong weakness that keeps me very busy finding others, saying we dare the lightning to take us away from the living world without any real purpose. My heart is crying when I hear people too content with wandering the darkness. But I need more of you to do a lot less crying before we all drown and wash away. I know that this is a little more than tough love, but misery is everywhere. And resting can get impossible, almost like sitting in Hurricane Alley in the heart of Florida. Sadly, the fountain of the Middle Age has turned bright champions into statues made of reasons. He said, with your name waiting to be placed below, we're all to see failure as a normal thing. I hope this time I'll find more than enough friends to spread the joy of helping others. He said, finding their way off the Hemingway Highway and onto the mysterious path to eternity. He said, far from the courthouse, sentencing many to a miserable, to misery. He said, without a proper trial or hope at the end of the tunnel, when the music meant everything. He said, and not to keep moral down and off. So when the music plays now, it's nothing. It's just more mind control ready to turn brains into dense mush, leaving behind the question of why do we die so young within the deflated skulls of men. So ready to blow like old faithful when they see there's a way out into endless green fields. If you believe me, then you ain't just whistling Dixie to lead the charge to break away from the life with one too many times of ignoring what really makes everyone happy and full of love. The problem is that it's down to you to make sure the abyss doesn't swallow you at the first chance. If you do, you'll never be sorry, as you'll have others like you to help you along to find the golden light. Just don't have too much fun before you start, or the trap of society will take you back, and your fantasy will become nothing more than a long-distance love affair, with much weight causing you to melt down into the cesspool disguised as the world you sadly know today. So you bring me to the cynical guardian angel. It's something I've told many souls before, all thinking that they've heard the wild cowboy beat to save themselves from total ruination, not knowing dancing cowboys have a reason for their dance, and they have found purpose, out past the sands of Santa Fe where the sky is blanketed by the many corrupt cities. But some guy get a little crazy before reality comes back to smack people right in the face. Said, I know many ask, fly me to Eden, but paradise isn't what people think it is or earn easily. And so when we get to heaven, said, our new home will be a reflection of our past, so try to make it count. Sure, the wings of the wind offer advice, said, but the voice has been blocked by the toxic normalcy. Even a neon cowboy serves as a better bridge to the con man in getting him to listen to others like me saying, I said, let's roll America, or wherever people call their forlorn home. I know that you can't forget about me, so as there's a part of you finally waking up to the truth, and while I lie to you for your love, it's really not worth the effort, doing to the entire population, on top of people not knowing how to save their love for when it's more than a clever suggestion. So get some decent clothes on, shine them buckles, comb your hair, among other things, and our family can escape this dreary place and rediscover where the drive of life really went. Despite my harsh words, people, you're my favorite waste of time, as variety and hope remains. Like an eager bird dog sensing there is one last big hunt before the season decides to end. Go ahead, fall in love again, and the golden streets will reveal themselves along with emotions forgotten by the constant Hollywood heartaches plaguing the news every waking moment. And with that, that's a country rat. And the name of the group? It's
Would there be Bellamy's involved?
Yes, both of them. Yeah,
Okay.
I saw them in Hiawassee, Georgia for like $12.
Who's the group?
The Bellamy Brothers.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Just they've been back so long that there's plenty of stuff to find. It's just that if it is like a greatest hits album may only contain like 40 songs, but if they've done like 200 or 300, then that's what usually loses people, and I'm glad I can do that.
Yeah.
There's a line in one of their songs that snuck into my head the other day that pretty much fits the times we're living in as far as I'm concerned, and they said, after every wave of tragedy, we waited for the joy.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that song?
Yeah.
That's a Bellamy Brothers
Was that
line.
an old hippie?
And that's what huh?
Wasn't that old hippie?
I don't even know the song, but I know that line in the song. Is
Yeah.
And when I was watching the news the other day, I said, God, that's the Bellamy Brothers singing
Yeah.
to us again.
Yeah, well, just like, when they talk about jalapenos, life isn't really like a bowl of cherries, okay? It said, like a jar of jalapenos, you'll come back and burn your ass tomorrow. That's not the exact translation, but that's what they put on. It was like one of their songs that made it to their greatest hit, so it must ring true. So, and I'm sorry if I stuttered.
Oh, you fun?
I'll do a few stuff.
All right.
Right, yep.
Director Larza.
Hello. Is it good evening?
Yeah.
I assume that's why people say good evening. Yes.
Oh, it feels pretty nice up there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, my name is Derek Galarza. I'm a local singer-songwriter. I've been up here in the mountains for about 5 years now. And, well, I originally was an actor in Orlando. I am going to perform a few songs that may or may not show up in my musical, which is based on my memoir, From Jesus Christ to Jack Sparrow, which delves into my career as an actor when I was Jesus at the Holy Land Experience and Jack Sparrow in the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney World. So, you tell me if it should be in the musical or not. Here we go.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay, I'll just wait.
Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I can-
He's recording it.
Yeah. Oh, he's recording. You never know when someone else might want to. I want to say.
Double recording.
All right, here we go. I'm searching for the letters written by ancient brothers, just to feel in this earth's condition. Is my intuition follow premonitions? Fate can follow me. I can just be. I just be. song is called Magic Magic. Magic, magic, life is conflict. What if all of this had to be perfect? I would need a miracle just to know what you're made of. I would need a miracle. Once upon a time, once upon a time. Thought this was a rhyme, poetry and I will have my book published probably within the next few years. I'm talking to some producers about turning it into a documentary type film, so keep a lookout for it.
Good point. Just the title alone.
Well,
Process of elimination, there's only one left.
lay it on us, Abram.
So we continue with the truth about plumbing. We're in the section of the book called Waste Not, Want Not. And the chapter that we will be reading tonight is Hard Terms, Hard Realities, Hard Lessons.
Oh.
In a typical habitable building, hot and cold water supply lines are normally provided with 25 to 55 pounds per square inch of pressure to drive the liquid to its ultimate destination, regardless of minimal height differentials or how many twists and turns it takes to get there. Any number of hard right angles are no problem under such conditions. But drain systems work under a completely different set of physical dynamics. In a drain line, gravity is the only force at work to make the water flow. And at minimally sloped angles, that influence is very weak. A horizontal 3-inch diameter main drain line, for instance, may be sloped with as little as 1/8 inch drop per lineal foot, according to the code. Because there is no compelling energy pushing the water forcefully through the pipe in one direction, it doesn't take much to slow down or stop the flow. Any obstruction will do the trick, such as an accumulation of hair, food particles, human waste with toilet paper, an occasional toothbrush, pencil, toothpick, earring, or contact lens case, or any of 1,000 other items that can fit in your pocket, bought at your favorite local retail outlet or online. A plumber sometimes unwittingly learns some of the deepest, darkest secrets about people by what he fishes out of the toilet trap with his snake. In this situation, I've found bottled candles, diaphragm cases, stash boxes, hash pipes, hypodermic needles, lipstick, condom packaging, and so much more. People simply don't understand how plumbing works or for what it's supposed to be used or not. Plumbing drains are built to drain water. That's it. But because of human ignorance, laziness, or malicious intentional acts of plumbing sabotage, we also use these inadequate systems to drain human waste, toilet paper, garbage disposal waste, washing machine waste, dishwasher waste, and anything else we're careless enough to throw down the tube. In light of this harsh reality regarding human nature, a building's drain system has to be over-designed to minimize the damage caused by the presence of materials other than water, and to reduce the chances and frequency of drain clogs. Therefore, hard right-angle turns on horizontal drain lines are strictly prohibited by the plumbing code. There is only one exception to this rule in the case of the short right angle that comes off the bottom of a toilet, which is the worst possible place to put a hard right turn if the goal is to prevent the accumulation of materials that could build up and block the drain line. This hard 90-degree fitting is called a closet bend, and it's necessary to permit its use because often there is a limited space in between the floor and the bottom of the crawl space, or in the height at which the fitting has to connect to a horizontal drain. In other words, the physical circumstances will not tolerate a wider turn. This is just another example of the inherent ultimate futility of modern plumbing systems. But the general rule is no hard right turns on or into a horizontal drain line. You can use a long sweep 90-degree elbow or two 45-degree elbows, otherwise known as 1/8 bends, to make a more gradual turn, but not a hard or short 90 except in the case of a closet bend, just to make things a little more confusing. The code does allow the use of a short 90-degree elbow or sanitary T, which is a T with a hard right turn, where a horizontal drain line empties into a vertical drain line. This hard right turn is allowed, again, because of situations in which there is limited physical space, such as inside a 2x4 framed wall. And very often this is where materials accumulate inside the pipe and clogs occur. Because we know all drains will eventually become clogged, regardless of what precautions we take or how carefully the system is designed, the code also requires the installation of multiple cleanouts throughout the system to access places where clogs will most likely occur, such as near the base of drain and vent stacks that empty into the main building drain, or near ill-advised but permitted hard turns. All cleanouts need to be used eventually, but sometimes it's difficult to locate in a place that is accessible. For this reason, frequently you'll find an ugly 3-inch pipe with a removable plug or cap sticking out of the wood paneling in the hallway, taking up space in a linen closet, or interrupting the marine animal theme of your bathroom tile. Cleanouts have to go somewhere accessible, and the laws of physics do not care about aesthetics, human convenience, or personal preferences. It is not the plumber's fault, but of course, the plumber will be blamed through word of mouth or in silence.